So today we will do performance management process and cycle. 1 second. Yeah, I hope I'm audible. So it got disconnected. So performance
Yes,
management
ma'am, you're
process
audible.
and cycle today we'll be learning. And what is it? So performance management process is a cyclical process that starts with development planning and ends with feedback and coaching. It is a collaborative communication based process where employees and management work together to plan, monitor, and review the employees' objectives, long term goals, job trajectory, and comprehensive contribution to the company. So, this process continual with regular sessions where both management and employees have the opportunity to give and receive feedback. So basically, what we are learning in this performance management process is that they focus on to review the employees' objectives, their long-term plans, monitor and plan the whole management system, so that the employees and the management they work together. So this is basically a process, a communication-based process, where they expect the management and employees to have an equal opportunity um, to collaboratively work together. So the characteristics of performance management process is it is a continuous function. It follows a logical organization of various activities. It is an outgrowth of general management process. So basically, it is, definitely a human oriented and technical oriented where both of them come together, and it is depends upon the trust and mutual trust and collaborative, where there should not be any structureless organization, where planning and development and providing the implementation of performance management is a significant role in the management. So let us understand the performance management cycle. Yeah. So these are the phases in performance management cycle where you will understand performance planning, performance execution, performance assessment, and performance review, performance development, performance audit. So let us understand this one by one. that basically these phase that you have seen, this cycle, they have understood the alignment of goals within the organization. So there are various phases in performance management cycle. There is performance planning, is a process of developing major objectives and goals of performance in an organization. Each and every employee needs to identify various performance goals with the help of superiors. So performance goals result with identification of key result areas. Key performance indicators emerge from such exercise. In the process of performance planning, a number of areas are discussed and mutually agreed. That is the objectives, the evaluation, the factors, the major areas, and the various elements of the development plan. So basically, performance management is where the employees, they identify various performance goals with the help of their superiors. Then it is execution, performance execution. Performance execution is to convert performance plan into operational plans and results. It is a time-bound program. In the course of performance execution, superior performs the roles of a coach. Objectives and goals stated in the performance planning stage may become obscure at the time of execution. So basically, at this stage, the subordinates are confused. New objectives and goals may be a thought of in this process. Superior plays a vital role in consolidating the revised objectives and goals. So basically, performance execution is to convert a performance plan into operational plans. So in this, the superior, they turn into a coach where they need to help the subordinates, where the subordinates often gets confused, and they help them, and they take the role of a mentor or a coach and to show them and enlighten them about the objectives and goals. Then you have performance assessment. Performance assessment is what performance plan is executed within the contextual framework of organization. Resources structure and human environment plays a significant role in the achievement of planned results. At regular intervals, both supervisor and subordinates evaluate results independently. So manager completes the assessment in an independent manner. Similarly, subordinates also complete self-assessment evaluation. The senior executive moderates both assessments. The process of completing the assessment necessarily inputs are collected from various parties, that is peers, customers, and others. So after subordinate completes self-assessment, it will be submitted to the manager. In the performance management system, both the manager and the subordinate together review the performance. So what is performance assessment is regular interval, both the superior and the subordinates, they need to evaluate. What they need to evaluate, their self-assessment, where are they completing their tasks, and what are the incompleted tasks, what is their roles, and what are the planned results that they have in the future. Performance review. Performance review is the evaluation prepared in the performance assessment phase are reviewed together. Manager and subordinate jointly discuss the results achieved, the process of achievement, and the effectiveness of overall performance. Usually, performance review discussion is organized through a meeting. In this meeting, with the participation and concurrence of subordinate, superior revises key result areas, indicators, and accountabilities. So there's a lot of accountability that is happening where the discussion on the overall performance is being reviewed. Then you have performance development. In this performance development, there is a lot of what do you understand, development in the holistic areas in terms of resources limitations, personal limitations, addressing various issues, planning on where there is training required, strategic goals, development of resources. So everything over here is being revised, modified, and the procedure is being acted upon. Then you have performance audit. The last stage in the performance management process is to establish a continuous evaluation of performance of employees and understand its alignment with the organizational goals. This exercise is known as performance audit. So there is a process of continuous evaluation of employees and understand its alignment with the organization. So here, after understanding the phases, now coming to the activities of performance management. So these are the various activities. The first one is AI performance review. AI performance review. First of all, management has to understand the current performance achieved by the employees. Certain questions relevant in this regard are what have been done, how it has been done, what are the challenges, why performance could not be achieved, who are responsible and where the responsibility lies. And finally, when the review took place, as performance management focuses on result, it is confined to key result area. So first, it is a performance review where we understand the current achievement of the employees and understanding in this regard all the relevant questions that we have to consider. Next is A2 performance counseling. This is the basic aim of performance management, not to exercise corrective actions but help subordinates improve performances. So manager takes the role of counselor. Various techniques are used to identify aspects such as challenges, strengths, weaknesses, aims, improvement and directions which are required. Then we have potential review. Potential review is considered the most significant activity of performance management. In this activity, the potential capabilities of employees are clearly identified. They are used in designing career paths to employees. Potential review is done to understand knowledge, skills, experience, attitudes, motivation, need to develop required potential in employees. For example, an engineer may have a potential of dealing with financial aspects. So, by education, it is technical, but by looking at potential, his or her services can be better utilized in financial functions. So, basically, potential review is where the potential review is only done only to understand the knowledge, skills, and attitudes and motivation of the person. So, whenever a person is dealing with any particular aspect, be it a marketing aspect, HR aspect, or finance aspect, you need to see whether he has been educated at that potential. Is he giving an undue service, and is he better utilized at that service? Then you have A4 career counseling. So once the potential review is being done, what is more important is the talent of the employees. Counsel them in terms of ambition, goals, lifestyle, aspirations, career path. Enables employees develop organization commitment. So after that, you need to ensure that the performance is improved and career development program is being inculcated. So how to do that is to have an activity which is to design their career development for different employees. So basically their objective is to see whether they are liking their place at work and they are committed at work. Then you have review and reward and review. So to increase the performance is to be to show that the psychological commitment is to review and that is to improve different kinds of programs. Then coming to the principles of effective performance management. Performance management in human resource. superior and subordinates are involved in this process, but it is very natural to have personal bias in addition to organizational bias. Any evaluation system is resisted due to lack of trust. If the performance management is not made effective, it does not meet intended results. So some guiding principles for making performance management system effective and are discussed here. The principle of goals. Performance management system is effective only when the vision, mission, goals, and objectives are clearly defined and understood by a concerned person in the organization. Now, when his mission and vision and objectives are not clearly defined and he does not understand them, it will not lead to accomplishment. So they need to convert each job into the shape of job analysis where it is being related to the organizational goals and objectives. Principle of accuracy. So, the absence of accuracy of performance data, measurement criteria, and information about performance gives rise to resistance about acceptance of performance management. Appropriate performance data consists of both qualitative and behavioral data. So behavioral data is very difficult to make accuracy. Like, for example, the process of measuring performance of telecaller, the number of calls, duration, and conversion of calls into an opportunity can be qualitatively measured. However, the telecalls behave language, courtesy, etiquette are behavioral data which cannot be accurately measured. Like, because they're speaking and then, it's a service based, right? So you would not know and you cannot measure it. So basically, but what is more important to capture is the traits of loyalty, appealing, reliability, and all these kind of measures which has to be seen. Then you have principles of rewards. So basically, what we have done is the principles of goals is to understand a person's goals to the organizational goals. Then the principle of accuracy, where they are qualitative and behavioral data. It is not measurable, but it has been observed through trust and loyalty. Then you have principles of reward, where you need to understand the intrinsic rewards or the extrinsic rewards are important to a person, and you have to give that monetary or non-monetary rewards to the person in the organization, and then you need to design in that way. So principle of continuity is the ongoing feedback which is continuous and it should be regular, and they should be able to improve it with removing all the limitations. Then you have principles of objectivity. That is to ensure that they are understanding, it is fair, it is transparent, and it is leading to unbiased discussions. Then we have principles of openness. So, principles of openness is to be a leader where you are discussing issues on the performance and you're giving the utmost freedom and power to discuss the problem and to have a very smooth, transparent process. Then you have principle of empowerment. Then we have principle of learning and change that resonates with the need and capability of employees that make system which is more acceptable. So at the end, what we understand is that how well this performance management has to be designed, which is fitted right into the organizational culture. After the principles, we now move on to the elements of performance management system. Here in the elements of performance management system, the first one, what we learn is role definition. So each individual employee has certain role to play in the context of organization. Role is expectation from employee. Defining role in a clear manner leads to the employee development of key result areas and the competency of successful discharging of roles. So basically, role definition is to understand whether the role of a production supervisor is to receive a production plan or to divide his job amongst the workers. So you need to understand what is your job role, that you can, or as a manager, you can provide suggestions for the improvement when needed and make sure that the task is being completed. Then you have performance and development agreement. So after having defined the employment role, the next sequence is to define expectations, that is the objectives, process, measures, competencies, and the final results. So a performance and development plan is basically you are spelling out the individual's authorities, responsibilities, and accountability for performance. Action is the evidence, the employees who are required to take appropriate action, decision, and execution for realization of agreed goals. Then you have continuous monitoring and feedback. Continuous monitoring of performance with the help of performance agreement and performance plan will be the next sequence. So the day-to-day work is monitored continuously through a number of formal and informal meetings, reviews, discussions, and finally reported. So formal review. Last sequence in performance management is undertaking formal review of performance for the period of time. So this is done by consolidating continuous feedback. So next we move on to performance management sequence. So performance sequence uh, is exactly the same on what we have done in the previous one. That is the elements, which has the same role definition, development agreement plan, monitoring, and performance review. This also is the same way. So we come to the summary, and now we start the next topic as well. That is performance management, planning, and development. So how do we plan and how do we develop performance management? So basically, individual goals, they dominate over common goals. So in order to bring this alignment, you have to focus on a long way in channelizing human competencies. So performance planning does is to have a certain plan that is benefiting the organization and the performance planning as well. So where the individuals, they prepare certain competencies for their future task, and performance planning aims in order to have a commendable tasks which are performed. So basically what is performance planning is ensuring that the results to be achieved and the skills, knowledge, expertise, and capabilities required to attain these results. So let's understand the purpose. Why are we planning this? What is the purpose of organization? The purpose of organization is their mission and vision should be met, and their plans for the alignment of different segments in the organizations have to be in accordance. What is the purpose of superiors? Now, the superiors should be able to impart training. that is the skills. They should be able to have superiors use their performance appraisal, the superiors in order to get the clarity, enabling superiors to determine accountability of subordinates as well. Purpose to subordinates. Basically, it provides basis for self-introspection about their performance. Performance planning provides standards against which the performance is being measured. And the general purpose is to stabilize and to prevent unnecessary priority areas, to have a clear, yes, to have a clear role, relationships maintaining and to perform contingency operations. Let us understand the process, the sequence of performance planning, or the steps also you can say. So the first one is specifying KRA and document indicators. Key result areas and documentation is the indication of performance. Key performance areas are the parts of job activities that pose a challenge. So basically, having worked on key performance areas, what are the key performance areas, whether the results are to be attained, which areas are to be to be identified, what is it that they need to work, what is their day-to-day responsibilities. All these things are the key result areas. Then you have identification of competencies. So human competencies for performing organizational jobs are the composition of attitude, skills, and knowledge. Evaluating various alternative competencies. So, required competencies identified in the previous phase, that is, specific area of the alternative competencies. For instance, talent acquisition, executive needs, positive attitude, right? Understanding internal and external environment factors. That is, these factors are not properly understood. Barriers that rise in the process of performance are not handled effectively. So you need to understand what are the internal and external environment that can be clearly understood. So what is the organizational barriers that includes decision making, or what is it lacking, that is ambiguity, poor leadership, unpromising organizational culture. So for instance, majority of talent resources identified by the talent acquisition executive are not approved at the decision discussion stage, and rational reasons are not told clearly. The execution gets demotivated. Equipping with needed competencies. Performance planning includes development planning. In the development planning, the gaps in competencies are adequately addressed. Competency training and development strategies are needed to equip employees. So, if employees lack risk analysis, unable to do resources, could not make work planning, and are unable to set these priorities, so these competencies are to be taught through training process. Describe the resource requirements to meet goals. So any level of excellence in individual competencies do not, commensurate resources, then they are actually useless. So you need to ensure that implementation of performance plans are to meet the goals. Evaluate execution of performance. So having created competencies, evaluation of performance is also important because it's a continuous process which has to be measured for actual performance and to set parity between planned and actual performance. So these are the indicators that can measure the gaps that can be in the performance parameters. So revision of goals and objectives. So key result areas and standard of performance are determined to ensure that it should be an easygoing approach, and these things are needed revision which has to be made for future period. Let's understand the advantages and disadvantages of performance management planning. So the first one is it provides direction. It definitely provides direction because it provides clarity, ensures objectivity and accountability. So, mutually agreed key result areas and performance indicators create a transparent environment. So, they are understood exceptions from them. This make them understand answerability relationships. They provide focus, that is, employees are aware of ways and means of overcoming barriers as they occur in execution of performance plan. Then it develops competencies. Performance planning emphasizes on required competencies and actual competencies. So the gap is filled with the help of training provided to employees. So this sharpens their mental skills and contributes to their overall personal growth. Difficulty in qualitative competencies. So number of competencies required to enhance performance are qualitative in nature. Identifying, measuring, and addressing such qualitative factors pose a very big challenge. So, if not understood properly, performance planning leads to negative results. Difficulty in prediction. Performance planning depends on the prediction of competencies and environmental factors influencing execution of performance. So, prediction is futuristic and associated with risk. Most of the predictions may not become true. Performance planning done on the basis of partially true predictions might literally fail. Difficulty in reaching mutual agreement. poor internal personal dependencies, difficulty in alignment. So let us know the planning employee performance meaning and importance. So basically the meaning is performance planning is a tool to provide direction to employees and also to create an opportunity in their career growth. So this opportunity will definitely determine the individual's strengths and weaknesses, conducting SWOT analysis, set performance goals, and provide a career planning and opportunity. This goes along with defining responsibilities, creating organizational structure with roles and responsibilities, and finally providing an action plan. So the importance are planning employee performance enables employees to develop clarity, goals, and roles to be performed. This provides direction and stress-free work. Planning provides congruence among employee competencies, resources, and organizational goals. So this enables to achieve targeted results. Employee knows where they stand in the organization and where they are expected to go. Career paths are clearly spelt in planning and employee performance, thus making employees a sense of guarantee of career, which leads to psychological contact. Planning employee performance enables to prepare for training and development in organization. SWOT analysis performance, planning provides metrics of performance measurement against which the final performance is measured. Therefore, employees can contribute with heart and soul without any suspicious attitude. SWOT analysis performance performed in the process of planning employee performance provides a great opportunity for self introspection. It creates an opportunity for leading a happy and purposeful life. Planning employee performance provides an opportunity to performing employees to upgrade performance. So next topic, that is performance management and organizational development. We will do it in the next class. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.